Welcome back, guys. Today we want to talk about the OCG meta game. Not really about this one here on Road of the King, but about the new decks that have entered the meta, Ryzeal and also Maliss. So this is really cool. Unfortunately, the latest meta report is not with the new cards. We can quickly go check that out as we have checked out the last one. Normally you see this here. They are saying like the new set has been introduced. And I think the set was something Breakers, where the Ryzeal as well as Maliss came out. There must have been a third archetype, because this was the deck building set, and if you're not aware, deck building sets are the sets in which there are 3 new archetypes basically introduced. It's like when we had the pack that brought us Pearly, as well as I think it was Rescue Ace, and then the deck Mikanko, the going second deck. So this is one of the deck building decks, but this is still an old meta report, basically the same as we have seen before. So we have talked about this the week before, where we only had Snake Eyes and Temper Dragon. The week before, Temper Dragon was at a first place, where Snake Eyes was at the second place. Basically, the percentages here were shifted, and I titled the video correctly that the OCG metagame has a big problem. They also have the new Maxi Fuvaros here, which basically led them to, and you can see this right here, main deck cards like Skill Drain or like Summon Limit, because the problem is that if you play against Temper Dragon and they throw like triple Fuvaros and then triple Maxi at you, or they have a higher chance of opening basically a Maxi, you could say, then you need to pass over and you need to survive a turn, which they wanted to achieve by including cards like the Summon Limit or the Skill Drain that obviously hinder Temper Dragon from killing them and then getting the turn back to finish the game. So this was basically their metagame. Not really interesting, really boring, and I said that Master Duel would be in a big problem state if and when we get to this point, because if you don't know, we are basically like the OCG when it comes to our ban list. By the way, I'm really confused. I guess we will get the ban list announcement for Master Duel tomorrow with the ban list announcement for the TCG. So if you're not aware, TCG expects a big ban list. People are very unhappy with the format. It's really a big thing in the community, and normally we already had the new Master Duel ban list announced. It normally begins at the 20th of the month, and then it is there at the end of the month, and at the end of the month is tomorrow. So I'm expecting the Master Duel ban list to come, or announcement to come, with the TCG announcement tomorrow. But as I already said, this is not what I wanted to talk about, because it seems the OCG meta has kind of been saved by this new decks. We can see right here over on Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta the breakdown of the first week, where the 2 new decks, Ryzeal as well as Maliss, were in the meta game. And as I already said, this is not included in this meta report here, so this is not the same as this. And you can see that the most common deck was Temper Dragon. I think this is also because Temper Dragon is one of the cheaper decks in the OCG as well as in the TCG. And then we can see Fiends with Snake Eyes here in the third place, Ryzeal in the second place, and then there is Maliss here together with decks like Jubel, Centurion, Labyrinth here. So especially Ryzeal with 9 decks compared to the 10 pies 10 is definitely a lot, and we can quickly take a look at this interesting deck here. The cards that are or belong to this Ryzeal archetype are X-Ryzeal. You have these level 4 Pyro and Thunder monsters here, which normally are, I think, all of them are light monsters. And we have Ice Ryzeal, we have the Node Ryzeal, and then Thode Ryzeal. Very interesting. You can also play Bonfire to search the Pyro, one of them, which is, or aren't they all Pyro? No, 2 of them are Pyro. One of them is a really nice starter, because if you normal summon the one of them, then you can, this one is it. If this card is normal summon, you can special summon one Ryzeal monster from your deck, except this one. So all of them level 4 body. So if you normal summon him, then you can basically special summon another level 4 Ryzeal, and they obviously have these rank 4 boss monsters here. We have the Ryzeal Duo Drive as well as the Ryzeal Dead Nether, and then we are using a lot of other stuff from the rank 4 toolbox. No cards like the Dugares. You can play Traptrix of Lesia. We have cards like Evil Storm, Extinction Knight, Abyss Dweller, obviously. But you can also play Prime Mathmech Laplacian, as this guy needs 3 level 4 monsters, and obviously we can achieve this. You are basically not Mathmech locked with this card, is what I'm saying. But what are the boss monsters here? We have a Ryzeal Duo Drive, which you can make with 2 level 4 monsters. For each material attached to this card, monsters you control gain 100, opponent lose 100. If this card is special summoned, you can attach 1 Ryzeal monster from your graveyard to its as material. So this is basically 3 level 4 monsters. I mean, you can also make this with more than 2 level 4 monsters, which you normally will not do in most most cases. During a main phase, you can detach 2 materials from monsters you control, so it doesn't even have to be a Ryzeal duo drive. And if you do, add 2 Ryzeal cards with different names from your deck to your hand, which is really cool. You can make this with 2 bodies. So if, for example, you start with this normal summon guy here, so you normal summon the Ice Ryzeal, which in my opinion looks the coolest out of all these little Ryzeals here, then you can normal summon or special summon one of the other ones, and then you can just make duo drive and add 2 more Ryzeal cards to the hand, which is definitely a nice advantage point. And then you have a Ryzeal Detonator, which is more of the thing that you want to have on your end board. Really cool. I think they kind of look like Transformers. You can let me know in the comments what you think of the artwork of these cards. By the way, guys, if you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, especially hitting the notification bell helps me out a lot. Thanks in advance. 2+ level 4 Ryzeal monsters. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach raw material from this card, then target 1 card on the field. This is targeting destroy it. This is not once per turn, so if you have like 3 materials on this thing, you can do it thrice per turn. And then if this card is special summoned, you can attach 1 monster from your graveyard to it as material. Doesn't even need to be a Ryzeal monster, as it was with the duo drive. So if this card is special summoned, you basically have at least 3 materials under this, which means you have 3 pops, which is very, very nice. If an XYZ monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can also detach raw material from this card instead to protect it. This is something we all often see on XYZ cards that you can detach to protect here. The only thing that is of note here, but I think this is also very, very nice, is that the usage of the Ryzeal base monsters basically locks you into rank 4 XYZs. So you cannot, and I think this is really cool from an archetype perspective, you cannot go into like generic boss monsters. You can't even use Zeus basically, but you have to use the Ryzeal monsters as well as some other rank 4 toolbox monsters, which I think this is the way that they should design archetypes, so that they have to use their own boss monsters instead of cards like Appaloosa, for example. And you also, and this is quite nice, can play, you can play a lot of different cards in here. What did I want to say at this point? Ragnar Zero, no, this is not what I wanted to say here, but yeah, this is the Ryzeal deck, one of the new ones to be added to the OCG, and definitely making a splash here, taking first places, a few of first places. This was also first place. They are playing this, so the first one played this with the Aratama Sakitama engine, because it makes sense. You have 2 level 4s. It's basically like Exosister in this sense. And then I saw another list that were using some sharks here. Maybe we can find the list. That were using like the Surfing Big Jaw and then the Drake Shark. And yeah, very interesting here. I think this is very cool. They are playing Shifter right here, but normally I think you are not playing. They're also playing Shifter actually. Is every list playing Shifter? No, the first place list is. So they are also playing Shifter, interestingly. So seems that the deck can also play Shifter here, which basically leads us to the second deck that we want to talk about, and that is Maliss. Maliss is the new Shifter deck, if you want to call it that. Maliss is a Cybers type of deck with these here, the base monsters Maliss P, Cheshire Cat, Maliss Dormouse, Maliss White Rabbit, as well as a lot of trap cards. And then you have these Link boss monsters here, and their shtick is basically that if they get banished, and they can banish like each other. So for example, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can set 1 Maliss trap from your deck with a different name, and if this card is banished, you can pay 300 life points, special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except Link monsters. So sometimes to activate them, you will have to banish them. So for example, with the trap cards here, the Maliss CGVC06, very strange name, you can activate this card the turn it was set by banishing 1 face-up Maliss monster you control, which is obviously nice. You banish these guys or girls basically, and then they can be resummoned because they were banished. And then you can use, it kind of looks like a Mathmech deck here. You can use the, oh no, I know what I want to talk about with the other deck. It was the Mereologic Aggregator, but I will come to that in a second, I guess. But you can use all of the Cybers package here, so it's basically kind of like Mathmech, you could say, but we can also play Shifter. Funnily enough, the other deck was playing more frequent Shifter than this deck did, but obviously Shifter is super cool, because if you then use these girls here for a Link summon, then they get banished automatically, which means you can bring them back for free. So a very, very strong Shifter deck. Shifter is definitely back in the meta, and the OCG has to hope that the Shifter doesn't get banished on the next ban list, of course. And then we have these Maliss boss monsters, you could say, that you don't really end on. You end on the normal Cyber stuff, like your Neo Tempest Terahertz together with a Cybers Desave Wurm, Spell Trap Negate in the graveyard, and then you also might end up on additional cards or like trap cards. And then you have a lot of follow-up with all of these bodies, so you can climb or Link climb up very highly. You can also use Access Code Talker. It's very easy to get into an Access Code Talker with this deck. Very interesting one indeed. And the thing I want to talk about with the Ryzeal deck here is that they have a really cool thing with this XYZ monster that I wanted to show you. Let's find a Ryzeal. Where is it? It must be over Maliss. It's here. So what they can do, and a lot of decks are actually doing here, is playing the Mirror Logic Aggregator, which is obviously level 9, so it doesn't really make sense. But one of these Ryzeals here has the ability to send a card from the extra deck to the graveyard. This one, you can special summon this card from your hand by sending one XYZ monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, which is very nice. You can just extend with this card, you can special summon him for free, and then you can send a Mereologic Aggregator, which says if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up card on the field, negate its effect until the end of this turn. So this is not even like only a monster negate. This can also be used to, for example, negate, I don't know, a skill drain. So if your opponent flips a skill drain and then you have your turn, you could special summon the Ryzeal, and then you would have to send a card from the extra deck to the graveyard, which would be the aggregator, and then you can negate the skill drain, for example. So a very cool interaction here, and then you can obviously continue with your rank 4 plays here. So we have Ryzeal, we have Maliss. You can let me know in the comments what you think of these archetypes that obviously will also come to us in the future. Once again, I also like that in the Maliss deck, and we can quickly check this out as I just talked about, basically the same as with the Ryzeal deck. We are kind of using like Cyber's boss monsters. We are ending up on the Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid, Neo, Tempest Terrors. There's also an Appaloosa in here that we might be able to make with some more material. So I guess you end up on a generic boss monster as well. But we are also using the Cyber's Link monsters, which I think is quite nice. I like the direction that the game is going when it comes to forcing deck types to use their own boss monsters, because I think this makes deck archetypes more unique. And because sometimes if you see an end board of a specific deck, you might wonder what deck this actually is, because there's an Appaloosa, there might be an IP Masquerena on the end board, and you're like, okay, a lot of archetypes can basically make these end board monsters. So what deck is this actually? So oftentimes you only use your deck here to go into some of the strongest extra deck monsters, which I think is a bit sad. It's way cooler if we end up on the boss monsters that are designed for the archetype. Let me know in the comments what you think of these two new cool archetypes that definitely have dominated the OCG, or dominated is maybe a bit harsh, but have made a splash in the OCG in the first week. Then again, you also have to consider that when a new set comes out with new archetypes, a lot of people want to try them, obviously, and we will see how they fare within the next few weeks. Without further ado, thanks for being here, and we will see each other in the next one.